following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1. What makes an upset? What makes a killer scene? Well, what makes a killer scene and an upset collide? That's what happens today when you get Seth and Ed. Let's start it off with Mr. Stepback over there. Up 3-0, everything in control. Sure, Game 4 doesn't go his way, but then he has to fight after a Game 5 just misplay. Goes to Game 7 against the champ, takes care of business in the end, and avoids the 3-0 reverse sweep in one of the craziest series we've seen this tournament. For Ed, it's been nonchalant. Taking care of business against Radin, pretty easy under the kilter, but he did beat the Super League runner-up JT in round 1. Don't let those glaze of the stairs fool you. He's ready and ready to roll. These spiders are ready to go and climb and make those webs. But who have the biggest web in the garage? In the Sport Mode 16. It's time to kick into overdrive. Let's get down to business. Hello everybody and welcome to the Sport Mode 16, one of the best round names in the league history. Love that name. It's time to kick into overdrive. It's time to get sporty. Sporty Seth, the Glazer, Ed Ziemba. Gonna be a good one. What do we got on tap for today though? 3 big games. We did have a cancellation we'll talk about in a second. Seth dead. Talk about that in a second here shortly. Gonna be a great game. Got a special guest commentating with me today. Vapor Peter in the Mustang region kicks off that action at 5 o'clock. And we don't have the 7 o'clock game. That was originally on the docket, unfortunately. They had to cancel that with Myth and Logan. That will now be played at 7 o'clock on a Thursday. We'll talk about that a little later. And Yepes Lair in the After Dark show, the 113 battle. Only 2 1 seeds left, Yepes being one of them. Looking forward to that as well. How do we get here? Well, what a time to be alive for Seth Cole. Big 4-3 over Ashley. And then Ed just took care of business against Radin. Due to the Ashley loss, that means Jay Caesar controls the region after his big win in one of the Classic Series against Background. And, of course, Monkey being Toaster Guy in a rematch. The 3-7 will go off as potentially, I say potentially because you never know with this league, but potentially the round finale as of only one game left to be scheduled. That's my game we'll work on pretty soon, hopefully. Well, that's going to be it. We're going to go into seeing a little bit of a lighter crowd, but it's going to be a good crowd today because we got some old school folks here. Joining me in the booth is going to be my main man, DJ Curtis, and of course, Ed and Seth in the game. Looking forward to that as well. Let's start it off with my friend DJ. DJ, obviously you both know these guys. Seth and Ed are NR staples, I would say, offline staples. But now they shift to the Uno table, Sport Mode 16. We know Seth's got great wild control, great ammo control, really been on it this run here in Automotive April. And obviously Ed too. He was started 0-1. Both guys started 0-1. Great ammo control, been able to use the fades well and control the switches. Do you think that's going to be a little bit different in this best of 9 today? You think they have to go a little bit more cleaner, considering you have an extra feeler game compared to a best of 7 where the atmosphere is a little more intense? Thoughts on that, and what are you expecting in this game?
I do think they're going to expect maybe the first few games you kind of feel it out. I think most sets like these, you have a lot of game left usually. First you get a good idea on how one plays, and then from there you kind of make the adjustments needed. Ammunition control obviously is always going to be like a fundamental factor. I think no matter how you play the game of Uno, it's just a matter of how you use it, whether you want to be aggressive early on or maybe later down the line. Power play is another thing too, but I think everybody knows that pretty much. Pretty fine and dandy with that. Pretty black and white, I would say, with snippets of notes to have. But I think it should be a fun game, should be a close one. I expect the typical, I would say, you use your draws at the end. Like your +4s, your +2s, your skips, your action cards, essentially. Those are going to be used at the end, I would think, to get in that long streak, as I think that's usually the most effective way of winning these kind of games. But if we ever see a numbers kind of game, it'd be very interesting, though, but one can wish.
Yeah, numbers game would be interesting, DJ. We have seen low ammo become a story. We've also seen high ammo. Let's begin with the home team. And Jay Caesar, as always, your thoughts on the game, my friend Seth. Ed. We know this. We know these guys from the old community. Could be more of a throwback game. Your thoughts on that as well. All right, let's begin here with my main man, Seth Cole. Seth, big win against Ashley, but we all know the first 3 games was more just a luck-based game. Then, as it started to even out a little bit, you had to really work and find some extra gears. Ed, we know, plays that switching. How are you going to limit that switching, and how are you going to control this one as you make your 3rd appearance in this round?
Basically just do a lot of what I did in that matchup with Ashley. As I said in that series, with given the opportunity to be able to see different styles of play from the commentator's standpoint, I kind of went to a little bit of a drawing board, tried seeing if I could adapt some of what I saw that really made sense to me and applied it to my style of play, and a lot of it really seemed to work out. To your point, though, and I said this, it was about 90% luck, 10% skill, with me being able to eliminate somebody is really good at playing Uno as Ashley is. I mean, her resume speaks for itself. So I feel like it's basically just kind of, again, limit the mistakes. If I could do that on the 10% of the side as far as skill is concerned, then just hope that the 90% of luck works out again here today.
Appreciate that, Seth. Thank you, buddy. We'll go over to Ed. Ed, obviously, you've had a more nonchalant run. You took care of business against the good old Radin there, but a big win against JT. The light switching has been more controlled. You've been a lot more efficient. You even said in some of your posts here, you've just been able to find a little bit bigger of a group. What's going to be the fortune here today against Seth as you continue to make your run? How are you going to stop his dynamic play style?
JT, I like to look at this tournament like I'm a tree sapling.
Okay.
You see, the seed starts off small, then you give it water, sunlight. In my case, you give it great Uno cards, great decks, great number efficiency, great fades, a perfectly timed power play, and then you have the opportunity to become a tall, powerful tree from that seed.
That hits home, man. And that's what you gotta do. Like sometimes with the seeds. I mean, is there anything lately that you've been just studying in terms of that mindset? That's an interesting mindset to come into this game. Anything else you want to add? You want to share there?
It's all about being efficient with this new. Everyone's getting better. Everyone's constantly getting better in this great league. So it's all about trying to stay efficient and studying the tape.
Appreciate that, Ed. It's going to be a good one. Jay, anything to add before we start, man? Thoughts on Ed versus Seth? Feel free to type it out, my man. Got DJ Curtis here. Looking forward to having a great commentary session. Of course, the fans. It's going to be quad deuces. That's triple. Oh, let's rock and roll. Okay, appreciate it. It's going to be quad deuces. So that's 2-2, 2-2, and a 1 for Seth if we get to a game 9. We're back to the best of 9 era, but we're not back to the 2 power play era. We'll save that for the back burner come T5. Should be a good one. In T5 when we get there. Let's get to it. For that, we'll go to Seth. Seth, it's game 1. You know the drill. Everything's free, 5 to 15. What are we going to start, my man?
Go 13.
All right, OG full in the building. And there it is. DJ Curtis joining me on the call. Going to be a good one here. Let's get this underway. Caesar puts it in. It is going to be a fantastic match. Winner goes to the Endurance 8. Going to be a fantastic one. As we go to the Blue 9 to begin. DJ, it all begins here as these guys know each other from the off community, the offline. Now they're going to put it on a table here and show what's up.
We'll say choosing the number 13, you might be feeling a little bit lucky if you want to choose that number. We'll see if that luck kind of comes into fruition here for this first game.
Absolutely. We'll begin with Seth Call. That Blue 8, it's you got to look at that.
Maybe drain the colors real fast early on. Could be one of your interesting strats. Maybe play numbers game if you really want to open up Pandora's box. Or maybe start to trigger the rainbow. But we'll kind of just see how everybody rolls along with this. But yeah, that Blue 8 though. You're only going down a number here. But staying with the color as is.
Yeah, I think Ed's going to take his time here. We talked about Ed. Saw a little bit in the JT game out the last time we had him on a stream. We talked about his patience to control draws. Let's see if he thinks about that early here. Definitely a completely different beast compared to when he played Radin, who was all over the board.
I suppose the real question is, how much of an impact does one's pace have in the game of Uno? You know, some people are much faster paced, some are much slower. As we just see now, a color change up to red, 8 to a 1. So, already just seeing 2 colors off the board here, but pace is a really, I think, a thing that people tend to underestimate from time to time.
Well, dude, it's a great question, man. For the average viewer at home or the average person here with pace, you can know how to play with it. As Ed goes one up this time to the Zach 103 deuce. There's times to play with the fast pace. Seth, you can tell he's more of that quicker to faster paced player, but when he's on a more run-based run, then he'll start to slow it down. Right here, he could be in a situation where he'll slow it down due to a switch into Brad. But you got to know how to control that throttle, right? And we always talk about this, and it's great to have Automotive April, right? You got to know when to save a little bit of rubber, and I think both guys know how to do that, as Ed will draw here early.
Interesting choice, though, going back over to blue. So we're only sticking to our reds and our blues. Haven't really seen anything with green or yellow at the moment. We should expect them maybe from time to time once we get near the end of this run, I would think. It would be kind of a no-brainer, as we do now have a switch to yellow, right as I said so. It's got 3/4 of the colors already established here in this first game, but off to yellow. Though Edward drew at a blue, though, so the real question is, does he even have any blue to begin with? Or, well, now, that is, he had some to begin with, but does he have any at the moment? But now with yellow, kind of opens it up.
Yeah, well, DJ Stradamus right there. I like it. I like it, though. It's got to open up the playbook a little bit, add that third color, see if you be aggressive. Well, there we go. That's Pandora's. How about that?
Yeah.
Actually, that's Skittles. That's a end around Skittles, right? A little work around Skittles. We got the red, blue, yellow, and green. How about that? A little Skittles play. Pop them out.
No action cards yet, though. All been numbers so far.
Yeah, really, really clean, efficient game here. This is what you expect in a 13-card start. Takes a little bit to build up that pace, and as you can see, Seth Cole takes the lead here by 2 possessions, pending Ed's play. Now Ed taking his time here, looking to load up, maybe trying to limit that gap, or does he play this one clean? Remember, all numbers here, so that allows you to get some more time to think about your moves, and Ed's going to play a cleaner number here.
Yep, still rolling along with the green.
Seth running
with
now.
The money.
Yeah, yes, sir. Into the money right now. Let's see if Seth can be money on this shot right here. Oh, yeah, here we go. A little double play.
Double play there, +2 and reverse, though. Interesting to use it. Let's see if he has more up his sleeve.
Old Jay Caesar into goal. Here comes Seth looking for a potential trips through a quad. Loads up. We talked about that pasty. This is where you start to slow it down.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yep. Keeping the run
Color
going.
changed up blue. Used a reverse. And then now a quick skip, so. And another skip. Wow. Talk about a handful of action cards so far in this.
Seth looking for a potential check moment, or does he finish it off on the 5-backer? Looking for the house. Does he have the house right here? Loads up now, looking for the run. Does he have it right here? Seth Cole looking for an 8-bagger to close out game 1 and get the 1-0. He may have a chance.
+4.
Yeah, this is a monster hand.
Amazing hand he's got so far.
Seth using everything he knows with the game and using that ammo control pretty well. But this case, it could be one of those lucky hands. Oh, it's over.
Wow. It pretty much might seal it. It should seal it. Yep. There it is.
Yeah,
that was just a handful, a whole chain of action cards. I don't think really much Ed could have done, even if you asked the question. I don't think there's really much I think Edward could have done at all in that.
No, I mean, Ed, unless you were saving maybe something did you maybe save a +2 or a progression? I mean, is there anything you could have saved? I don't got anything there. That's crazy.
I mean, I did have 1 yellow +2 in terms of ammo on that. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't think you could have done much. You tried to hide it off, too, by going to green. I get it. Yeah, Seth, I think this is just a continuation, a little bit of what you had against Ashley, but we know how that went the first time. The luck did swing back in your favor. How do you try to, just in case you get something more let's say whiplash, how do you try to combat that, considering that game was pretty much 100%, nothing Ed could have done?
Man, I don't know. I guess it's when I get the hand, then I have to come up with a plan. But off the cuff, no idea. That was a monster hand. Like, I only had the one red, was able to get rid of that quickly, and then I had a finish if we went to green, yellow, or blue. It didn't matter what color we were in. The card combinations were just perfect to chain together. If I had one card remaining in either color, I was just gonna have that as the finishing card. So I don't expect that luck's going to continue. It's just kind of the same deal as what we had in the Ashley series, where it just was that monster hand right out of the gate. So to your point, there'll be a point where I'm going to end up having to really adapt the strategy and with the cards that are dealt me, and maybe here in game 2. So take this one up, but not taking anything for granted.
All right, well, I think there's nothing really to say, DJ. I don't have much analysis. Ed couldn't do much. He was sitting duck in traffic there. Nothing else to say, really.
Yeah, really couldn't do much out of it. That's all there is to it. So that's just really the outcome of a lot of these games. Is just that one guy. Oh, yeah. They'll just get a crazy freaking hand, right? And it's just only so much you can do. Maybe power play, but I mean, it's so early to use it though. Like, why use it in game 1 though? You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. It just kind of doesn't make any sense. Really, you want to use those power plays once you get near the mid, unless you're really feeling aggressive. You use it early, but it's very rare, I think, I ever see players use it early. Usually kind of use it near the end of the games, right? You're like, when it gets like the kind of just icing your opponent more or less when you're about to win, or really if you're playing defensive, you gotta, when there's a big run going, just to interrupt everything.
Ed Glazer, man, I'm telling you, he's gonna fire in maybe a little shot right there as he goes for some picks right there of alcoholic beverage. All good there, but we'll see what we got here at Seth. Free caller than 13, buddy. Best of 9. Long way to go. What do we got here, buddy? That?
Oh, sorry. Is it my call?
Yeah, you're still your call. Yes, sir.
Oh, apologies. 12.
We'll go 1 then. Perfect. Well, we know that strategy, Caesar. That's a famous one. That's a famous one. KT, Ashley. A lot of people do that strategy. Here we go. Seth, one of those guys. Gonna adapt it. Let's see if he can get another monster hand, or has this become the whiplash theory? We've seen that, DJ, as well. I remember your game against Drip. Drip was getting monster +4s, and all of a sudden it whiplashed back in your favor. Then in the game 7, of course, was pretty clean. But here, let's see if we start working. Ooh, gonna be an early switch from Seth.
Early switch. Interesting to see. Maybe Seth didn't have some greens off the bat. Maybe saving them for a different time, but to switch to blue that early, that is certainly a choice. And back to green, though.
Yeah, good call from Ed there. Try to play the ISO game early. Let's see what happens.
See if Seth has any green here.
Oh!
Switches to red. Okay. Wow.
Quad 9s to start double playing.
Loving the 9 so far.
Yep, Nick and Alan there on the call with the cards. Now, Seth may have a little bit of vulnerability in green. Ed could expose it. Let's see. Plays it cool.
Just gonna roll with that red.
Just roll with it. Roll into the. Hold the phone.
Switch to yellow. We are already opening up Pandora's box relatively early, so interesting to see here.
You know, Jay,
of all colors of all sorts.
Absolutely, DJ. We're definitely going around the box. There comes that with the +2 first action card he can play. Let's see what he can roll into more here. Plays a double. Okay. Double play. I was just going to say, Caesar, one of the things I've noticed here from Seth is he's playing more in the Ed style of the switching. Let's see if he continues that base setting that he's been liking so far. Even against Retro, he was doing that a lot as well. And Ashley, and it worked out as he'll erase that +2. But back to you, DJ. Right now, Ed needed to play that +2, I think, get a little bit of momentum. Seth stops the momentum. It's going to come down to the switching, I think. Here we go. It's going to come down to the switching to get this win here.
And the issue you can have with switching is that sometimes it can just bite you, because you drain all those colors, right, and you'll have nothing left. You'll be basically isolated, and the same thing with Edward, right? When he did the +2, right, they could provide some ammo for Seth. As a result, I've known that firsthand with other people. When you get to early, use an action card relatively early, involving someone drawing cards, and they might have some crazy cards as a result of those. But we'll see, though. A lot of cards left on both ends of the table.
right now, I got to look at this from Seth's perspective. He's loading up something nice right here. He's been going. Let's see, he's really taking his time. God, I think something's coming here. DDR switch, and there. Oh, my word.
Wow, look at that.
Quad
Holy
play.
smoly.
Yeah, Seth.
Quad play indeed.
Yeah, he's going to go use the hammer, right? The little hammer time. And Seth takes the lead. 6 extra cards in Ed's back pocket as it's 5-13. Now, DJ, how do you respond to this? If you're Ed, you got 2 choices. You could try out isolation, which would be the obvious choice, because Seth seemed to have no green, or do you try to fire back? What would you do here in this situation?
I feel like, this from my intuition, I would fire back, but because I feel like at the same time, like, if Seth had, like, much more action cards, he would have used them by now for a much bigger run. But I think that what it seems like, it might be more in like kind of the numbers game, either numbers game or maybe saving it near the end. Maybe have like a couple cards left, but just have to get rid of some numbers first, and then maybe he might have a wild +4 up his sleeve, right? To use near the end, get that Uno, and then basically, run with that set. But we'll see though. Couple of reverses though, triple reverses more or less in this case.
Triple reverse in the green where Seth switched off, and now goes on a 0 sugar, hoping Seth has no green. Let's see if it works out. Is it the right number? Did Seth save a 0? That would be the ultimate kicker. It works. There we go.
So it's an indication of no green so far for him. Might have it at top deck though, but we'll see.
Ed got to roll into. I think Ed, if you're Ed here, you're content, you're comfortable. Say, okay, got a little bit of that vulnerability on green. Let's run into it and play it where it lies. Can he get the right numbers cooking at the right time? That's going to be the key. Working so far.
Yeah, it's still drawing, so this is a golden window, really a golden opportunity for ever to really catch up in the card game here.
Ed with a nice read right there on the green. Seth a little bit flushed out. Let's see what Ed can do. And he will continue to roll the green here, not trying to switch. Seth loses some of that possession arrow. Let's see if he can get it back on a switch. And he
Switch
will.
to
He's
yellow.
Back. Yep.
But however, you still know that Seth doesn't really have any green, so if you really want to switch back to green, you can still do that. But now a switch to red.
In the sack. That's opening up the break a little bit for Seth, and he will
kind of a little check here, and Seth actually reads on, rolls with it, gets the 9 in it.
Running low on the 9s too. He saw a bunch of 9s off the start. That's something to keep in mind. Maybe Seth trying to prevent a switch off a number used a lot, using that CH tab, which is important. Ed goes 1 down. Here comes Seth. Let's see what he's got loaded up here. Red off the switch from Ed. Loading up. Taking his time. Looking to fire. He'll go for the +2.
+2 and a 1. So double play, though. Okay.
Really interesting there, DJ. He could have did a triple +2, or did he get that off a top deck or off past that?
Maybe could have been a top deck. Could have been a top deck. Skip here. Action card back, basically.
Ed looking to erase that +2
for
right
double
here.
play, maybe even more if he has maybe another skip in his hand, or maybe a red +2.
Ooh.
Green skip right there.
Yeah, ISO playing ISO City here. He's gonna look.
ISO back to green though. Smart call.
Yeah, great call from Ed.
Smart play.
Great call from Ed there. I was just about to say, and now he's within a possession. Can he land on the right number? That's gonna be the key.
The real question is, does Seth actually get anything? He actually has a blue 7. Huge.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the right number, and sometimes you roll the dice and it works out. Sometimes you roll up empty. So Seth gets the right number and have a crossover. Oh wow! So Ed continues to roll with it.
Yeah, let's see. Seth has just 2 blues left, or maybe even something to match it. We'll see. He's got 1 left, so has a blue. So real question is, does he actually have a blue left, or is it just to see maybe if something else strikes?
Seth looks for the check now, close to signing the deal. Ed, does he have anything in the back pocket to stop it? Let's see.
Or does Ed have any wild cards?
That's
As a wild +4, that's huge.
Yeah,
huge
big.
here.
That's big.
Because Seth was nearly there, and now with +4, Seth has 5 cards. And now it is back to Uno, this time in Edward's favor. Talk about the tables turning in an instant.
One thing to note there, I would say, he could have went with the green A and played it conservative, but he goes for the aggression. Great call, I think, because that could have been a switch over. Here comes Ed for the win.
I think that might do it. I don't think Seth's got anything for it unless...
Yeah, he got it.
Yep, pretty much does it. Had a wild, didn't even matter the outcome for that, so... But that +4, though, KT, that was such a huge, pivotal, like, shift in this game.
Absolutely, yeah. You think about it, Ed could have easily had just done a green A and risk it, but you don't want to take that risk sometimes or a power play. I'm going to go to Ed here. Ed, great win right there. With some of those returns, man, and some of those special reverse returns off the sets +2s, or did you feel confident in making some of these switches because the vulnerability on the green was the opener to get you to the end?
Yeah, I definitely noticed that he wasn't great on green, even off the bat. I did have a few reverses right when I started. I think I got like one more off the +2s, and I had those wilds and wild +4 throughout the whole game.
Well, ammo save. I got you. All right, let's keep it going here. We'll go to Seth. Seth, ammo save there from Ed. He talked about saving. You played a little aggressive with the old +2 package. Was the hand solid in a case of you were using some of the 9s early, right, getting the switches when you needed, but was it that 3-color box maybe having a little less reps compared to some of those luck wins where you just couldn't work it out and you're trying to get your sea legs back in that game? Talk to me through it.
Yeah, the +2s were done much earlier than they wanted. The problem was the hand was too good. The only cards I had in the green were action cards with a +2 and a reverse. And so, with us running in green, I really didn't want to have to play those cards, and it got to a point where I had to. So, that's why I only did the double with the 2 +2s. That red +2 that I played later on, I had that as well off the draw, but I didn't want to give him too much ammo. So, unfortunately, I got boxed in with having too good of cards in a certain color. So, in hindsight, maybe I could have drawn to try and like build up a little bit more in that color and not have to play those action cards, but I would be up 1-0. I thought, we'll test the waters, we'll see what happens, and he did a great job on the number efficiency, getting it back to green, because I knew that was going to be a problem. As soon as I got the hand drawn to me, I knew green was going to be the biggest color issue in that game.
Yeah, green definitely was the thing, and that's what he said. He just appreciate it. Said that's the problem, is that 3-color box where he was efficient on those other colors, red, yellow, and blue, but sometimes when you're in that third color, you have to try to fade it, and Seth decided to fade it pretty well. Unfortunately, just couldn't get enough numbers to connect, and ultimately Ed, with a good ammo control, gets the tie up to the series. All right, well, we'll go to game 3. Ed, now your call, boss. No 12. Welcome to your homestand. Welcome back to the Sport Mode 16, buddy. What are we thinking here for your... Let's do it. Let's go for a 10 on the judges' table. 5 fingers on the right, 5 fingers on the left. Caesar's going to put us in. Real good game to start. Let's see how this one goes. It's a red 3. We'll see Logan on Thursday. Now, DJ, Ed's going to have a chance to control the pace.
Yep. And again, that +4 from the previous game, that could be the momentum shift for Ed's favor. So we'll just see how this one kind of transpires, more or less. But red 3 off the bat, let's see what he's got in hand. A reverse early, though. Action card very, very early, just for a simplistic double play.
Yeah, nice double play. Ed now controlling the pace. Seth's trying to get this one back. If you're just joining us here or just joining into the broadcast, as we go into a green switch, it's been the key story today. Switching, and of course, a little bit of luck from Seth in game 1, and Ed using some ammo control. Been a good storyline developing. A little ammo control, a little switching, a little bit of momentum as it continues to go to the pendulum as we go half off special there, DJ.
Yep, pretty much we'll just roll with the punches here. Just going to stay in green. Well, that was short-lived because now we're into yellow.
Seth using a little bit of that aggression on the switching as he continues to get a little bit off kilter with Ed. Ed decided to pull the first punch. Seth trying to fire back. Seth down possession after that reverse from Ed. Here comes Ed. He'll go 2 up.
Just keep rolling with it, though. Color switches can help or hurt. Either or. It's a double-edged sword, more or less, though. It really depends on the quantity of cards you have in that set color, or you need to use them at a different point, but interesting to see a lot of color switching early on, though.
Ed's out. Okay, so interesting for Ed there is not much on
Drew.
the yellow, so that's a deficiency Seth could possibly expose, and they're both out.
Also Drew as well.
Yep.
Both isolate themselves. Seth basically isolated himself and Ed in yellow, looked like.
Yep.
Draw City, maybe.
Yeah, May draw say the bot not cooperating on the yellow here. We've seen, and I'll talk to Caesar about this, but we've seen multiple metas. The 3-color meta is taking a back seat this tournament, I would say. It's been more 2-color, but this is one of those things where it's about top decks, which is not taking his night off. Getting the right top decks on either numbers or a wild card could make the difference. As Seth goes for the Grim 7. We'll blink there. See, and Ed goes for the full.
Should open up the floodgates here to see if anybody's got any red. Now back to blue. All right, over to blue this time around.
Yeah, pull the slot machines, continuing to open up Pandora's as we go into the blue 7. Trip 7, Ed goes to his own card. Here comes Seth now from the blue 7. What does he got? Off the zero sugar, goes up the knob, and now both guys are starting to run what they need here in the blue as they continue to chop down the table.
I suppose the real question is like what do you think is like the logic behind color changing, especially when you do it so early? If you have like a load of cards in your hand.
Well, there's two school of thoughts as we go to the blue 5. It's either a fade look, as Brock likes to do, just fade it off and just hope to get the opponent off kilter as Ed draws there, or 2, you have a really good hand. You're just trying to get rid of 1 or 2 colors, right, that have maybe 1 or 2 numbers and use that ammo for a run. Either school of thought's possible, and then there's the other thought where I just don't have the hand, and I might as well just switch it and hope something works at the end. And sometimes it does. We've seen Ashley do. We've seen Brad has done that in the past season. It sometimes works when you just switch because you have nothing, but it's a very tactical strategy. As you can see here, DJ, Ed is flushed out of blue.
And isolation's another big thing, like you noted, right? We've talked about it time and time again, really, and just any kind of Uno game, isolation is such a huge thing, can really help with your momentum, or really hurt, like help or hurt, depending on who you are, right? Gets you a good idea on how you can adjust as you go. But knowing that Edward drew on a blue here, Seth runs with a blue 2. And now a wild over to yellow.
Yep, into Cody Lamas' yellow. Seth had drawn off that earlier, but did have something in reserve, I think. He might have something in reserve here. Here he comes. Off that yellow wild. Seth looking to get back to the finish line.
This might scream a run here.
Would be a trip run to the finish. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing you can do there if you're Ed. Unfortunately.
I don't think so. Yeah, can't do much there. Wow, look at that.
Seth back on the board, and just like that, as we go for the log, he's up 2-1, and now the question turns to Ed. Ed, 427 there. Appreciate that, Jay Caesar, on the money. Ed, obviously a game here of you really played the numbers well. You had the early switches. I thought you did a good job of almost hiding that yellow, but then you switched off to red. Did you want to work around the yellow in a sense to have a back-end finish for that wild card where you got beat to the punch, or were you just trying to play more isolation there at the end?
I was hoping I can get him to draw a little bit more, but I guess he kind of had that covered with the +4, so it just didn't really work out there.
Gotcha. I gotcha. And Seth, really good game again, man, in terms of just allowing things. Do you think some of the switching, maybe being a little more aggressive, especially from that yellow to where he switched to the red and then the blue, you started to get him into an echo chamber where you could just run down maybe 1 or 2 numbers, as we were saying on the broadcast, and set up that massive run to the end, in this case, a trips to finish?
Well, maybe a little bit. I've kind of, like I said, tried to adapt my strategy, not only to maybe be a little bit more aggressive on the late switches, but also have a plan for when somebody else does the late switches on me as well. And I feel like he and I've had a good back and forth in that regard of having something saved up in case the late switch takes place. I think the biggest key for me was I was shocked that the both of us didn't run a little bit longer in the blue. I was really surprised that he was iced out in the blue as quickly as he was, because we hadn't gone to blue yet, and I thought that we were both really kind of saving up in that color, so it surprised me that I was able to run a little longer in blue than he was, and I think that might have been what gave me a little bit more of an advantage to be able to dominate that color near the end.
Appreciate that, my friend. That's what it is sometimes, DJ. It's really about dominating certain colors or dominating certain figures, and here it was more the switching, and as Seth said, they're trying to adapt a little bit more into it. Almost got Ed guessing a little more. That's really what light switching is. You're guessing. You got to get that mind going, and sometimes when you go to that second, third progression, you just fumble for a second, and did you make the right progression? That's what Seth's been trying to do to get Ed sped up. And it doesn't even have to be pace. Just speed up the mind when you make those switches and get him thinking. It's a mental game, after all.
Yeah, mental gymnastics at its finest.
I love it. I love it. We'll use that term moving forward. All right, Ed. Free board other than the old 12-pack. What do we got, my friend? What do we got? Let's go to one down to 11. We'll go to the green skip, the old Arahuo skip as Ed locks in. Seth looking to go up 3-1. Remember, it's a best of 9. Still a long way to go in this series. As we have 2 more on the docket today. Then after say 5 more games, we got 2 more tomorrow, maybe 3, and then we will finish it up with 2 on Thursday to close this out, hopefully. All right, we'll go to the green 5 into LaPlante, and once again, we always talk about that first turn, DJ. Looks like both are going to run into that first turn green. No switching, play clean.
Yep, pretty much just rolling with the money.
Rolling with the money. Show me the money.
Rolling in the greens.
Yes, sir. Into Gone right now. We'll see Gone tomorrow. Only game I won't be streamed due to some issues, but we'll keep it rolling. We'll go to Vapor. We'll see him at 5 o'clock as we continue to go with some of the promos. Now that we got some of those promos out of the way, DJ, I think this is a pivotal point here. Game 4. In a best of 7, this is big, but here in a best of 9, you don't want to fall behind 3-1, but there is time. It adds a little layer as we got an Ashley Wild to start us off here on the action cards this game.
And sometimes all it takes is just one game, right? If you're that far behind, it's not over yet. Can't give up on yourself, right? Again, it's a mental game too. If you feel you're down, you might not likely come out with a good outcome. But though with a switch to red with the Wild, now we're shifting over to a red 8 though. Just gonna keep rolling with it though. So but not over yet. Still, I think they both still have their power plays up for bat. So it'll be interesting to see when they want to use it out of this 9-game set, essentially.
Absolutely, and that power play is still rolling and go as we go. Seth, once again, we saw this earlier. This little switch there, as Ed gets a little plushie right there on the screen, a little basketball plushie. Interesting right there. It's the same exact kind of switch from Seth. Goes into the blue from the red and tries to get Ed maybe lacking with that red Wild that he had played. Let's see. Here comes Ed. Goes into his own card. Now Seth looking to fire back here so far.
Yep, just numbers game right now. They're just kind of just draining the numbers out as they go, sticking with whatever color they have when there's a switch. They just roll with it.
Yep, bringing
A little more of a rhythmic kind of game right now.
Absolutely. They're bringing the old neck out on the numbers, and they continue to ring it out as we go to 1-up this time to Retro 8. Here we go. See what Seth's got.
The real question is, when you get towards, when you get color switches, does that mean that they're out of that color? Let's say you're still in this blue, right? And then you suddenly switch the numbers. Are you potentially out of that set color previously? That is going to be a real question to kind of think about, I feel, for those two players. But when you're against your opponent like that, you could maybe see this as a chance to really isolate in circumstance depending on it. But double run here. Going to have a triple play maybe at best. Let's see, or really a minimum. Unless there's more to it. Green Wild.
All right, so Seth throws a little heater, goes into his own wild card now. We'll open up a little more of that 3-color box. Still waiting on yellow as he goes back to green. How does Ed sniff this one out? Does Ed have anything up the sleeve? Let's see. Does he have a Wild just a cross encounter with that? We'll find out. +4, there it is. Keeps
right back
alive.
at him.
Yep, keeps the game alive here. Now Ed looking for maybe dose. Let's see. He's got to run. Here we go.
Double play right now should be. See what if he's got another Wild, at least another action card more or less. Nope, sticks with the red.
Ed down to deuce. Seth
Triple play.
Yep. And that's the thing, DJ. That's the one thing Seth has in his back pocket is that green might be the kicker. Let's see.
The real question also now is that +4, does Seth have any other good action cards out of that +4?
Dan joins us here.
Will he respond back? Because Ed doesn't have a lot of cards left in terms of quantity. There's +2 right here, so basically, and does a draw. Interesting.
Yeah, all defense there. All defense.
Defensive, I would think, yeah.
Can't afford a possible 2-run finish, 2-card finish, and well, okay.
True.
So risky now. This is risky. This is a risky spot, DJ. 1+2. All you gotta think about is 1+2 in your favor, and that can turn the game around for sure.
Another thing with that +2 though, does it make you think that Ed didn't have any red to begin with?
Yeah, I think he juiced himself. He juiced all his reds and was maybe hoping for a switch into green or something, possibly.
Yeah, it's all hindsight though, but it's just like it makes you think though, like, oh man, maybe I didn't have to do a +2 because now they're just starting to get into a draw city here.
Draw city we go as we continue to go back. Remember, big game for Ed here, especially Seth up 2-1, has had most of the control in the series so far. Ed did have that big game 2 win to tie it, but other than that, it's been Seth's series to start. Here comes Seth as he'll continue to draw as we continue to way back in the draw city now. Really go back into the woods. Here comes Ed now, looking to find a little bit maybe on a top deck and will not blink. Who will blink first? We'll find out. They're still content here, DJ. There's just no urgency, just waiting for the right time, biding your patience, for sure.
Oh yeah. Just kind of minding their P's and Q's right now. Just kind of waiting to see who's going to strike first.
Here comes
Feels
Ed.
like a game of chess sometimes with games like these.
Absolutely, and that's really what Uno is. It really is half mental. The 90% of Uno is the mentality, right? The mental games, those mental gymnastics, controlling so many factors. And when you get to draw city, though, it's the one time. It's the hurricane, right? You're in the eye wall. It's calm, actually. There's not much going on. Just draw back, bide your time, and then all of a sudden, when someone makes the break, those outer bands come in, and that's when the game gets really good as we continue to draw back. Longest draw city of the day as well. For the first time we've eclipsed almost to a full sender here, depending what happens.
Yeah, and I highly doubt. I think they're just trying to draw as much as they can to get some good action cards here. I would like to think both of them have red. It's just I think they're just kind of waiting to see what comes forth out of it. Or maybe they don't, for all I know.
You never know. We have seen some save theories. And save a little bit in the back end. Make sure you don't overcook a red. Maybe save one in case someone tries to blink first and undercut that potential number switch. It's possible. Here comes Seth. They're still contending.
Just right back at him.
Yeah, this is from a commentator's perspective. This is a good time to analyze what's going on, though. It makes you think, okay, is there a possible +2, +4 differential? Are they waiting for a reverse skip meta? Or are they just looking for an extra wow to combat that with the +4 they have? It's a game of cat and mouse. There's no doubt. Here comes Zed. What does he have here? He's taking a little bit. Here we go. Here's a +2.
All right, here we go. Fireworks going here. +2 with the green.
Jay Caesar, note that comeback. 21
Double
cards.
play.
Okay.
Double play.
First time we've seen that in a while. We've only had a couple come, maybe one or two. It's been a hot second. It's funny, DJ. We talked about that +2, just waiting for that +2, but hard to believe you'd throw one right there, especially with that many cards. So that's a little bit of respect.
Oh, for sure.
A little respect element, I think, for Med to say, hey, I haven't been getting much luck. I might as well throw a +2, send it back a little more, and we can go from there. Let's see how Seth responds, though. Plays it cool.
Just rolls with the 9.
Yeah, that's a good move. Play it cool. See where you can really get your opponent thinking on there. Maybe just run out. Good move to test them. Here comes Zed with a little bit of a comment. You got it, buddy. No problem.
Let's see.
Taking his time and really... Oh, boy.
Here we go. Oh, this might be a bit... If it's saying like that, it might be one of those runs. No, it just switches over to a yellow.
Yeah, well, I think we may have exposed him. I think that's what it was with that green. And Seth's going to...
Oh, yeah.
So
Interesting.
Back to red.
Maybe trying to get rid of the 9s early on. Could be it.
That's possible, but we had just got off a long draw city in red.
Like a long draw city, though. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was saying. Maybe one of these guys was saving some of those reds, and now they're hoping for a switch. Ed's going to use the +2.
+2. That gives Seth 21 cards, looks like. Yeah. real hefty amount either way. That's a pretty big card lead, though, but it can diminish in a heartbeat. Red reverse, though, gonna do double play here. Should expect maybe another, just a normal number. No, just does the draw, so it's just a double play on Ed's end.
This is some really work around, end around, whatever the strats here with the red. They're playing real finicky. Let's see if Seth goes on the gas, though, and sends pedal to the metal. We'll find out.
And sometimes the most unpredictable games are games like these where you just don't understand the pattern of one opponent.
Seth's going to go for the
double play here. Yep.
Gets back in the island under 20 on the cards. Now Ed looking for a switch over from that 3. You got to think it's coming here. So many cards.
Yellow 3.
Yeah. Saw one a mile away. Now I think if you're Seth there, you know the switch was coming. It's going to come down to how do you maneuver through the back end stuff, because that's going to be the key to win these games. It's the back end color switches, the back end final color. What is Ed hiding? That's how you make the art of a comeback. Let's see what he does here. Ed, he's going to try to keep being aggressive, and that's a great sense of aggression to zero sugar. Seth goes into the deuce, in the bow tie, from drip.
Yep, just going to keep rolling with yellow right now. Just going to go with the flow.
Seth rolling into it as we go to a yellow 6 now. In the steel.
Starting to calm down a little bit now, but probably right to say that it's going to get real crazy in a like in a few seconds or so. But right now, though, they're just kind of rolling numbers with yellow at the time being, though. See what Ed's got. Taking the time, though. Could we see a little bit of some action card tomfoolery here from Ed?
Ed looking for a run here. Let's see. He's had a pretty good sense of this game.
Draws.
Drawing here, yep.
Probably to think a little bit on that. Decided to take the draw for that one. Good chance for Seth to catch up just slowly but surely. Just, chipping at it.
That's it, man. Chipping at that old deficit and try to see if you can find a neutralizer at some point. Here comes Seth. Let's see if he wants to go aggressive with a switch or does he play clean. Seth taking his time here now, loading up. Let's see.
Might scream a little bit of a double play here. Make that a triple.
Yeah, triple.
2 reverses. One from yellow to a blue, over to a +2, and then a blue 1. So quad play here. This really changes things up now. It's pretty close in terms of cards now, as Ed rolls with the blue 1 as well. Make that a ditto.
Seth now into yellow as he continues to try to play isolation. So he got the workaround isolation back to yellow. The problem is, does Ed have a 1 back pocket?
But no. He does have a yellow 8. Still has the same color. Seth now shifts over to green. Yeah, we haven't seen much green after the earlier stint for the draw city. So now this opens the floodgates here. Ed still actually is going to roll with this green, so he actually does have some green. Seth rolls back to yellow. Some very aggressive color changing here.
Absolutely, man. You can see it. Seth's... Oh, here we go. Back to green.
Back at it. No, you.
Yeah, yellow, green, 2 color box. Does Seth have a yellow 7 in the back pocket? No.
He has a green 2, though.
Yeah, he'll roll into that. I have not checked much of the CH, but let me make sure I was right on that.
Blue 2.
Blue, yeah. Well, we're out of yellow 7, so that wouldn't have made sense. But we'll see blue now. Let's see if Seth got anything.
Has a blue 5.
Yep. Now it's getting intense, DJ, because both guys are getting close to that red zone. Here comes Ed. Plays it cool. What will Seth have here? Seth loading up. We'll go to green.
Wild to green.
Yep.
Well, let's see if Ed has any green in the table. Does he have any in his hand?
Be very impressive.
It's going to be a good little check here. If he has green, Seth might be in trouble here.
Might have a wild flush.
But instead, he has a wild +4.
Yeah, that's
Goes back to blue. Huge there. He's got 3 cards left. Make that 2 now. So now I think Seth's got a pretty good idea on what the end color could be for Ed here. What he's going to want at the end.
Yeah.
So what do you do for Seth? Can you color change that?
And
or does he have wilds?
And that's the thing I was going to say, DJ, with that move right there. That wild from Seth, that just flushed an Ed +4. Ed was probably trying to chain that to a finish. That wild was more of a defensive measure, and it got Ed looking now. Can Seth use that last play? Here we go. He's going for the triple.
Triple. Make that a quad unless he draws here. A lot of action card usage now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there we go. It took a little bit. Double play there. So that's actually probably a quint. Looks like.
Yeah, a little quintuple. Five bagger, as we call in the business. And just like that, Seth erases that +4. We're back to square one. And then some. Here's Ed for the check.
Let's see here. Does he have a green?
Ah, +4.
Instead, he actually had a +4. There was not even any question about it. That is just an absolute killer. And Ed wins it. Wow.
Yeah, long game.
Absolutely killer, honestly, though. Heat check. All for naught, right? All that for a +4 right in the face of Seth.
Yeah, good game right there. I think I'm going to ask you a couple questions, man. You decided to be aggressive right there. Throw the cards back at Seth with that initial crazy +2. But do you think it was a case of you didn't have the hand at start and you were confident in a sense to say, let's play that draw city, and when I threw that +2 in green, I had more in the tank? Do you think you capitalized on maybe Seth's mistake of that wild earlier and just trying to use more of that flush tactics? Because let's face it, you threw a wild red, then he threw a wild green in that initial get-go, and once you hit that +4, it changed the whole momentum of the game for sure, because that draw city may have profited you in your favor.
Yeah, I got both those +4s off the draw city, and then I was like, okay, I don't think there's any left. I don't think there's any +4s left. So if I can just draw out and get some more cards that I want, then eventually I can try and lead something towards a finish, and that's what happened.
Appreciate that. And one other thing I'll ask you, when you get these long games like that, first endurance battle, what's your mentality for the resilience game for sure? Yeah, we know you're used to this.
Just gotta stay mentally sharp, gotta be ready for anything. Just gotta try and anticipate what the other opponent's gotta do. Just gotta be ready.
It's gotta be ready. All right, I got you. Seth, really good game right there, man, but you left it open on that +2. What was the theory for that initial +2 leaving it open? Was that a case where you were just scared of the finish and you were hoping for draw city and you just got unlucky, or did you want to push the aggression and seize control to try to get that 3-1, even with the 21 cards?
No, 100% going for draw city. I had a 3 and 9 in red still there, but I didn't want to run the risk of him having the number efficiency to be able to swap off the color. I knew he was iced out in red, and I felt like being on the +2 was either going to force him to use his ammo or put us into a draw city. Unfortunately, as you heard from him, it comes down to who gets lucky on the draw city, and he was able to get those +4s. I got 4 reverses, so not a whole lot I could do in terms of stopping the +4s. I can certainly try and control the color, but can't combat the 2 +4s. So just got unlucky on the draw city, but at least got it to where I wanted it to be, and potentially could have had a run to the end there if we'd been able to run in green just a little bit longer. But he had the bailouts. So yeah, this has been good back and forth. Pretty glad it's tied up because it's anybody's game now.
Yeah, it's what you want here, Seth, compared to that last series. And for Ed, now he's in a dogfight where he's just been dominated 4-1, 4-1. TJ, good series here so far. Back and forth. If you look at the ammo, as we go to the stats here as I was scrolling up, pretty even. 3-4 on the +4s. We got 2-3 on the wilds. A little bit more in favor of Seth on +2 skips and reverses, but Ed's been able to use some of that efficiency that's he knows and loves here to get this game back to a square. Thoughts on this so far? It's been a good series as we go into game 5.
It has been a really good series indeed. I might be a magnet for good series so far based on the games I've commentated. But
2 for 2, yeah.
jokes aside though, this was a very interesting game. The draw city was really what kind of set the tone, that tension that you're kind of in suspense, waiting to see who's gonna strike first, right? Whose patience might run out, or whenever they feel ready to strike based on their own strategies themselves. But yeah, great series so far. Very much back and forth though. To Seth, Ed. Pattern could change in game 5 here, but it just seems a very evenly matched on both sides so far. Both still have their power plays in the making, so they still can use it. They just haven't used it yet. It's a matter of when they will use it, because now I feel like it's kind of near that range where you can use it, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think Game 5, even though it's the best of 9, you want to see if you can take the lead. I think that's going to be an interesting aspect of this series, that power play. I think both have used it more instinctual. Some have used it to finish. It's been a good series so far, Caesar. Everything up to the billing for sure as we continue to roll an hour in on this broadcast. Both guys have put it to the nail, and now it's back to Seth's court. Seth, no 10, no 13. We got some extra heat in this one. Best of 5. What do we got moving forward, buddy?
Let's go 7.
All right, classic. Here we go. The classic OG, and this one for the first time, DJ, this one could be a quick one, or it could be drawn out. That's how 5 to 8 goes. As we started with a skip, great starter to start.
Yeah, very interesting to have a yellow skip at the beginning, though, but let's see what they've got. 7 cards isn't a lot, though, so inventory relatively limited unless you draw a lot, but Seth's going to roll with a yellow 7 here. Let's see what Ed's got in his toolkit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I think I agree, Jay. There could be a whiplash here. This is the risk you take when you go 5 to 8. There's nothing you can do. There's only so much you can do with 5 days. We run the yellows clean for now. Seth's out.
Seth draws. Already maybe out of yellow. What does Ed have in store?
And on the other hand, played a 0, so sometimes you could be low on yellow, but here we go. He'll go clean.
Yellow 4.
Let's see if Seth's aggressive with the switching. He'll keep it clean on his draw. And now Seth drawing back. Here comes Ed. Ed looking to get this down. He continues to run the
He's
yellows.
got a lot of yellows right now.
Yeah, that's what you need on a 7 card. One color, run it clean.
Good little start to have. And Ed knows that Seth's basically isolated already on yellow. That's not really a good situation to be early on, but he's going to switch to blue now. So maybe Ed doesn't have any yellow left, or maybe saving that number, like a different yellow card for in terms of a numbers game, perhaps.
Give Seth a chance, though. That's the thing here. Give Seth a chance.
Let's see if Seth bites.
Seth, does he bite here with the blue 9? And he will with the yellow back. Wow.
Back to yellow, though.
Ed is looking for a classic play right here, trying to play that isolation. This might be the key.
And Ed has no yellow in that. What does Seth have? Does he have any yellow? No. He's going to force them into Draw City. That might be what he's going for here. If you don't have yellow and I don't have yellow, we'll both draw together. Yeah, Ed has a probably top deck here.
The old classic there, the KT classic from Seth, but Ed with a little bit of topper prevents that for a second. Ooh, so
double play here.
So that's a weird one, Caesar. That's a KT classic, but it is a weird one where they both had it and they were just waiting for the right time. It's a calculated classic for sure.
Now I'm wondering if Seth's gonna switch colors here. No, because with that, but now they both are drawing at yellow again. So now we got ourselves a Draw City once again. Kind of the trend of the last game transferring over to this one so far.
Yeah, I was just telling this to Caesar, man. These guys are making pro-level moves here, DJ. The evolution of classics of just drawing back, you would see, okay, just draw it. But he had a skip, was waiting for an extra card, and it's taking sometimes that patience draw where we talk about that controlled draw. That could be the difference between winning and losing a series, and we'll keep that in mind as now they will continue into that Game 4 setting where they were drawing back into a Draw City.
Yep. And now they're just gonna keep at it now. Gonna be the same trend as like the previous one.
Still drawing back here, looking for some more rhythm from both. Who blinks and winks? Here comes Ed. There we go, topper.
Starting yellow 1, likely top deck. Red 1 now. We got a color switch here from Seth himself. See if Ed bites. I think more likely than not he will. Yep, there it is. Red 2 just goes up a number.
Up a number we go, and now Seth looking for something. He'll go for the red 7.
Red 7.
Yep.
That'd be a window to open for a color change here. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Green 7. Now let's see if Seth bites. Does he follow through with the greens? Does he roll with the money?
Let's see if he can roll with that money in the dough, and for now,
With that, oh, green 5.
Okay, rolling in it, and that was a good note. DJ Stradamus right there with the green switch. Let's see if that can capitalize here as we go into green. Here he comes loading up, looking for a potential play. Goes into
Gonna
his
keep
last
going
point.
down too.
Into old Radin. Seth loading up. Let's see what he got back. And now it's back and forth on this color. Let's see.
It looks like it could be a double play here, maybe a triple play based on how long Seth's typing. That's kind of what I'm really feeling vibes-wise with this. Scream some action card usage here in just a moment. Let's see what Seth's got up in store. +2, green reverse. Ed's going to have his 2 cards given to him, essentially. Seth's going to keep going at it. Red reverse, and over to a 3, so nice little quad play there. Gives Ed 2 cards, though. But Seth's got a pretty hefty card advantage, but not by a lot. I don't mean hefty, I mean barely.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. Into a blue 3. Back to red.
To red.
Ooh, the icer, right? The old isolation.
Icer right there. Yeah.
Play the double numbers. Hope Ed tries to switch and go from there.
Spicy play right there. Let's see if Ed's got any red.
Oh!
Back to blue with a wild.
Back to the KT. Wow.
Take a look at that.
Great play from both. Now, how does Seth respond? Did he save some blue? You bet he
And
did.
he's going to go to green this time.
He'll go for the wild play. He flushes Ed's wild, crazy sequence right there back to his own card.
This is a wild sequence of events with this.
Nothing.
But Ed has no green.
The crossover.
He drew. Potentially has no green here. Let's see what... This is great for Seth. This is good news for Seth. Goose.
Good old goose right there. Who's going to goose step here as Seth plays the green deuce? Does he play the right number, though?
They've been migrating to different colors this match, and just the wilds. They've been migrating from one color to another. And let's see, does Ed have any green here? Seth went with a green too. What does Ed have?
Just call
Switches over to yellow.
Into the yellow. Does Seth have any yellow saves,
Does
though?
Seth have any yellow?
Seth looking for a move right here to maybe get Ed on his feet, put him on skates. +4! That's huge.
+4. Holy smoly. And that's back to green.
Seth with the
Power
plus.
play here.
Oh, he's going to
Power
go for it. Okay, so Ed with the defensive power play. Seth's iced here. Interesting.
Now there goes the power play point that Ed's been using. That Ed has saved up, but I think that's a good choice. That's a good choice to have.
Now it's Seth's turn, yeah, because his defense.
Yep. Good decision. Because Seth, I think, could have went for a real good run there, and Ed just decided, I don't want that to happen.
Get the ass that
Don't
way.
want this to get out of the way. He draws, though.
Ed's out.
Still stuck in that ISO and green, so...
Let's see, Seth for check, and he's out too. So I don't know.
Out
if Seth
too.
had I don't know if Seth had a finish there. I don't know.
Maybe he didn't.
We saw this against
Or
Ashley.
might be saving it. Could be saving it for another time, but by now you probably realistically would have just... You could have done a power play back and then... Realistically speaking, if you needed to, right? But if you had like a wild +4, and then just... You force the power play through a double play. But they're both just now going back into draw city here. Both stuck in green. Seem to find an answer for it so far. And they're waiting to... They're priming up everything to get a good little run here.
Really interesting so far with that power play as we go to a zero sugar. If you're just joining us, big defensive power play there from Ed, trying to stop the run. It doesn't seem like Seth had a finish, though, and that's the one kicker. They're drawing back now. Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
here.
but at the same time, it's good you didn't take that risk, though, of not using that power play.
That's true. Yeah, if you're Seth at the same time.
Because you never know. You never know. He could have had a wild +4. He could have had a wild in general. Any wild action card.
Could have, yeah.
They're just going to keep drawing.
That's it, man. Safe than sorry. That's the old adage. Sometimes you just better be safe than sorry, and it pays you in the end. And That's what I did there. We'll see how he can navigate now without any single power play as we continue to go back here. Seth plays a 3, okay. Let's see if Ed bites. Okay, bites back to the 8 now. What will Seth have in this green 8 in the Chomik? Does he switch it up? He does, but he
draws.
He's not going to switch it up. I think Ed with a good play right there to go to that green 8, save it just in case the 3 was a switch combo.
Now switches to blue. I expect Seth to at least have some number in here of blue. I think because with no green, at least it seems he's got no green. He should, in theory, have blue, and there it is, blue 9.
Blue 9 deep for Seth. It's going to be for Ed here. 1 up this time. Makes the switch over to blue. Makes the break. But they're both a long way away, so not much to really say on that front. +2.
+2. Action card with this much cards you still have, though. Interesting development here. Double play, though. +2, then a blue 5. So, interesting to use an action card with that much cards still in your hand.
Seth plays it cool right there. He goes for the Ditto and the JT. Ed deciding to use a little bit more aggression on the +2. Goes down to the blue 1 now in the Peter. We'll see them at 5 o'clock today. Into the deuce from Bad Brad from Seth. And now you can see it, DJ. It's starting to get a little bit more of a filler now on these blues. Trying to run some numbers down. Building up to that moment.
Yep. Just gradually taking it down. Now switching over to the color yellow.
Seth will have one more.
And Seth rolls with it. Goes with the flow.
He will have one more home call after this. Ed will get 7 and 8. Here he comes. Both guys now into the yellow as Ed plays it clean. Let's see what Seth's got. Is he running low? Let's find out. Now for Seth, there's no need to really do anything fancy with the pace. He's got no power play from behind on the back end. There we go. After Seth. And Ed going to play clean into yellow 6 DJ. Let's see if he's got the switch in the back pocket.
Yeah, this could be. No. Decides to draw.
Ed looking to tie the game up after being way back there. Let's see. 12-minute series.
Could be relatively insane here. Let's see. Ed taking his time, all that for a Y7.
Seth, does he have a chance right here to break out
Does
of it?
Seth have any yellow?
No, I think he's juiced. He's looking for the switch.
He might be juiced at a yellow, like you said, yeah.
He's juiced. He's looking for some type of number heaven. Let's see.
Maybe hoping for a number here. Nope, still draws, so this is really good for Ed here. Knowing that Seth doesn't really have much yellow, or if anything, any yellow. In this case, just keep rolling with it. Gotta make the color switches when needed. There it is, right there. Red 7. Seth, I think, will have at least some red.
Oh, yeah. He's good to roll here. That's
Definitely should have some red. If you don't got yellow, you probably got everything else, more than likely. So, there's a red 9.
The question is, what's underneath that sun, right? You can have everything else under the sun, but what action cards is he hiding? Is we have still 3 plus
That is true.
available. And plus
That
2.
is very, very true.
Into a red 9.
Back to a red 9, alright. Still staying in the multiples of 3.
Here comes Zed, looking for a play, and he'll go into the red 4. He sees momentum after down 8 cards. Seth trying to get
Do
it
we
back.
expect a color change here?
DJ thinks color change.
Red 4. Oh, I think he meant to do a 4. Or either red 5 or a green 4.
Let's see, is it cap or is it going to be...
Yeah, red 5.
Your own
Yeah.
card, buddy. There you go.
There it is.
Yo, Silver Fox there. Here comes Ed. Does he have a finish right here?
Taking his time. Could be huge if he can have a nice run here, though. Would be amazing.
+4, here
Wild
we go.
+4 to a blue. To a
Oh, yeah, you got
skip,
it.
so 2 action cards in a row. I think that's pretty much gonna do
Got
it.
it. There it is.
Oh yeah, that should do it. Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
Ed for the win. He'll get the 3-2, and he'll finish it off on the... typo. There we go. Bad Brad Blue did.
Yeah.
There we go. A 14 minutes, 16 second series. I'm going to go to Ed. I'm going to go to Seth. Seth, first up, I'll come back to you. I'm going to go to Seth here. Was that a little bit of a bait play on that +4 to not finish the game? And were you kind of forcing a power play there on defense? You took your time a little bit. Talk to me on that first play.
Yeah, 100% forcing the power play. At least I got it out of the way. But timing's everything. I waited one turn too long. I had to finish if I'd done a power play to go up 3-2. I had the wild +4 off the draw city, and was one card lacking. I was just trying to find that chain, and I thought, we'll run in red a little bit longer. I probably should have done the power play that one turn earlier, but at least I've got the power play still available to try and draw it back 3-3 upcoming.
Yeah, remember, best of 9 here, so we do have some time. I appreciate that. Ed, I'll go to you. That game was more just set him back, right? Send him back to the woodshed. You got flushed with the power play, but you made up for it. I've got to assume right there. Let me look back here. Was that a case of maybe that one wild sequence where you guys were going crazy on the wilds and Seth did that KT Classic with a little end-around workaround? Did you feel comfortable knowing that, okay, he does a little workaround, you get flushed out a little bit with the blue wild, but ultimately that blue wild saved you, because if it wasn't for that, you heard it right there, Seth probably has the finish. So talk to me about that blue wild, just understand that timing to get the win, and then using some end arounds to get back to the win in the enabler.
Yeah, it just kind of led to, it really felt like he had the finish. I was like, just don't want to let him win. Even if he didn't have the finish, I just couldn't risk it. So led to the power play, which led to the draw, which gave me some really good cards. So that's how it worked out.
That's how the cookie crumbles, man. That's for sure. Ed's up 3-2. Appreciate that, brother. Well, DJ, this has been a fantastic series. You look at this. I mean, at one point, Ed was at 30. I think it was 25-10. He had more cards drawn than he had played, and now all of a sudden the scoreboard's flipped, and sure, he may be getting a little bit less on the +2 skips and reverses, but those +4s and a lot of that number efficient management, he's been working to his favor as he's up 3-2. What are your analysis through 5 games here as we have 4 more potentially on the docket?
Again, still pretty even though. Draw City, I think that's going to continue to be a trend these next couple of games though. Everybody's just going to stack up and up over and over again. Big key factor that I noted, obviously, that Vapor also noted, was that power play that Ed used as a defensive call paid off at the end. Seth did note that he could have used a power play as well. I think I made a note of that too at some point. Like, it could have been used maybe to ice it, but Seth still has that power play essentially. Ed doesn't know, so we'll see how Ed adjusts without power play. Basically has to go essentially old school. Seth can still kind of spice it up though, but ammunition's so big though. Everybody's stacking it up. That's really been the norm at these games 4 and 5. So we'll just see. We'll see. They've been longer games, so could be the rest for these other games here on out.
Yeah, no rest for the weary as we go a little pumpkin mode there. Nowhere close to Halloween, but we're back to Seth's call. Seth, 10-13, off the board, my man. Everything else, we're cooking. What do we got here on this game 6? Last home game for a minute.
Go 14.
All right, double OG. We'll go double that up right here. 14 cards is in. Seth Cole looking to tie the series. Ed looking for the 4-2, but no power play. We're underway with the Nick Blue 9. It's going to get good now here, DJ. Let's see how Seth runs this.
And both have done a great job with pace. They both kind of are very equal in pace. Like, they just kind of take their time. And if they know what they got to do, they'll pretty much kind of breeze through it. But it's a lot more composed on both sides.
Absolutely. As we go into a Blue 8, is coming up here to 50 minutes in this series, and both guys have really put on a show here. Is Ed's going to draw for sure.
Early draw, though. Let's see. Will Seth keep rolling with it? No. Switches over to 8.
Well, right now, as
What
we
does
go,
Ed have?
yeah, I was just going to say, that early draw, you wonder from Ed, is that controlled? Is it calculated? Is he trying to get a little mental gymnastics going? That's interesting for me. We had seen that work against JT. Let's see if Seth's combating that.
Just keep rolling with it. Might seem like Seth might have a few good numbers of green on his deck with typing so fast. Ed could be the same boat here. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Reverse early. Let's see, he's thinking about it right now. Red reverse. So using action cards relatively early, both reverses though, switching the color over to red.
Taking his
Maybe
time.
he was starting to run out near the greens, or maybe has still some numbers that he could switch back if need be, but he's going to go for a red 6 this time around. So nice triple play here from Ed. 2 reverses used off the bat. Red 6. Seth's going to keep going with it. Hits him up with a 4.
Get into that red 4 now. What's it going to be from Ed right here? Does he have anything in the back end? We'll find out. Okay, so 1 down in the Logan from Tapir. Here comes Seth. Into the switch. There we go, blue. And that opens up a little bit more. Waiting on the yellow, but starting to get more back to that blue where we had faded off earlier on Ed.
And now we've opened up the floodgates, opened up everything. All colors are now available, essentially. Up to a yellow 3, a red 3. That's all the 3s all are at it. So.
How about that? How about that, DJ? Look at that.
How about that?
Quad 3, and there's no green in sight. So there we go. No Skittles, but good work from both to run the colors they need. Seth in the lead with the possession arrow. Here he comes. Seth loading up here, taking his time. Let's see. He'll go for the triple.
Triple run here, shifting back to the side of blue. Now it's Ed's turn. Does he have any other action cards up his sleeve? Or will he just roll with the numbers game again? Let's see. +2 this time around. Blue +2. Expecting a double play here. Maybe even a little bit more to add icing to the cake. Ed taking his time. Red +2. So make that double. Double trouble for Seth. And now a skip. Wow, he's got a real load of action cards up there. 2 +2s on different colors, both matching essentially at this rate, with a red skip. What does Ed have up next? Does he have another action card, or will he just go for the quad play here? Let's see. And Seth uses the power play. Defensive power play from Seth. Now it's his time to shine here. Ed looked like he might have been going for a run based on how long he was typing, though. I feel when you're typing that long, you're bound for a run, or maybe you're just trying to still kind of ponder a bit on how you want to strategize. But now that disrupts the flow here, the rhythm. And now Seth can take this as a chance to pounce.
You see, I gotta look bad. I don't remember the last time in a one power play series where we've had both players not use their power play to finish a game. This is long. I don't even remember the last time this has happened. So here we go, especially back-to-back games. Seth's gonna use it. We're fresh out, bare knuckles, rested away. Here he comes. God, I think some monster here. DJ's coming. There's no way it wouldn't be here.
It'd have to be a good little run here. Maybe even if it's just a triple play, it's still going to be a really good play. Depending on if the ammunition is not good ammunition given back. +4, while +4 shifting over to yellow with the yellow +2 added to it. And then now a yellow 5. So that is a triple play as I predicted. Now what do you do if you're Edward? What do you do?
You gotta test them here. I don't think it's a good move to try to go for a crazy switch. Seth's burned a lot of it. Just test them. We'll see, though. Let's see what Ed will think about here.
It doesn't have a big card advantage, though. Only got 4 card gap, so Ed's just going to roll with a yellow 9 here. Just going to
test them
breeze with it.
You see what? That's why you test, though, DJ. That's why you test. Because now he might see that deficiency in yellow. Big play there from Ed.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a classic move. Test him out, see what we got. If he can pass it, great. Adapt. If not, you got something in the back end, but that's not what you needed.
Yeah. Got a good idea on maybe Seth not having yellow, but in turn, Ed probably doesn't have any red with it.
Oh, wait a minute.
And now a switch to green.
To his own card there. So now this frees up Ed the second. How does Seth push
Maybe
the pace?
Seth's also got a lot of green in his, with what he's got, so.
Into Yepes, down to LaPlante. We go back and forth. We go on the green. Seth makes the initiation. Here comes Ed on the back end. Plays it down to the captain of the green 4. Here comes Seth, back and forth like ping pong. He'll ditto that. Yeah, dude, this is going to be key. It's going to be this number situation. Does Ed want to make the switch as Seth runs the greens more?
Yeah, time might be running out for Ed, though. He's got to at least use an action card nearing at some point now, because Seth's starting to really... Oh!
4.
I think it's supposed to be wild.
Yeah. There's no power play, so he can take his time.
Yeah,
on
so
this.
take his time on this. But Seth's got a wild +4 here, so it's gonna really put more daggers here. +2.
Oh man.
Now if you're getting near the Uno, you gotta be wary though. Don't want to get caught napping, and because the call out could always be a factor too. We don't talk about that often because usually people do a good job with it, but there's always things like that. But he gets it anyway, so that pretty much does it, though. Some great plays on Seth's end here. Again, this has just been a great back-and-forth match between two opponents that have such great skill levels on both ends. That's what makes Uno so fun. Anybody can win this, and they've both done a real good job here, and both have played it real even. 3-3 in the set so far.
Game 7 we go. I'm going to go over to Ed. First off, did you have a finish right there on that? On that first plus.
Sorry, you cut out there.
The +4, man. The +4. Did you have a finish where he used that power play?
When he used that power play, I was just, I did not have anything. I was fully intending to draw. I just kind of kept typing to see if maybe I can draw it out of him. But in the end, it worked out for him. So
I got you. So this my question. That's just the initial one. A lot of switching there with the threes. We saw that quad 3. You were going crazy. Was a little bit of an end-around play, that control draw off the start. Was that control draw off the start in case you just maybe fishing for one card you needed as a connector, or pretty limited ammo hand there and you had to accept the fate in a back-and-forth series so far?
Yeah, I was hoping to just get a little more something out of it, but I don't think I really got much out of it.
Gotcha, buddy. I will go over to Seth. That, I guess turnaround's fair play, right? In a sense that you had a chance to flush it out, even though he may have not got the reward in terms of when the game didn't have the finisher. You did just take no prisoners, no safe than sorry. Good play there. But my question to you is, was a lot of that monster hand off the draw city, or was it a case of you had some of that in the back end and you just made sure you knew how to use it in the right way, especially when he did that double +2? Was it a good ammo return as well? We've seen that before.
Most of it was off the initial draw. The +4 was off the draw city, so that helped out. We talk a lot, KT, about players kind of mirroring each other, and I feel like Ed and I kind of are mirroring each other because this is back-to-back games where neither of us had the finish, and we both played the ploy of pretending that we had something loaded up and then drawing out the defensive power play. It's the first time I've ever played a power play in defensive mode in my career, but I had too good of a hand to run the risk of him having a finish, so I'm perfectly fine with using the power play there. And then just worked with the number efficiency to get around to drain out the green and be able to then establish over to the yellow. It was interesting, too, because I had 4 yellow, and you guys were talking about me potentially being out of yellow, and I'm thinking, maybe I actually did a decent play there to kind of shade the fact that I actually have a certain color. But I said it before, I'll say it again. It's anybody's game right now. It is so back and forth. We are completely mirroring each other, and I warned Ed. I said, hey, be prepared to go into a final game. That seems to be my moniker here, and it's certainly looking like that's the case here. We'll probably be going into a game 9.
Yeah, it's a bare knuckles fight now, my friend. Gloves are off. I mean, Caesar, this has been everything you wanted to watch. Your thoughts from ref in this game and how we're almost an hour in. It's hard to tell who's the winner because both players have been putting absolutely everything. Yeah, DJ, I think that's what you want to see in this series. Best of 7, but the best of 9. We're in Game 7. Now this is the moment of this Game 7 controls the pace. Up 4-3 is big, especially with no power play versus 4-3. Maybe someone's got a power play advantage. How critical is this Game 7 as we continue to flow as it goes back and forth?
Well, with no power plays in hand anymore, it's just a mono-a-mono classic old game of Uno. Draw cities again, been the trend. I mean, I don't really gotta say that. I'm kind of beating the dead horse at this rate, right? But it's just kind of been the norm with these two. And like Seth said, they've been basically mirroring each other, right? There's nobody that's really got a full-on advantage just because it's just... Right as you think someone's got some upwards trajectory, someone else, they just take it right back. It's just good old cat and mouse game right now. Could see a Game 9. Sure. Could be real fun indeed. I think we've got a knack at these kind of close games. I might have a knack at commentating these close games at this rate. Because I saw the last time I did one, I think it was this close. It was pretty close too. So
yeah, man, we need you more in the booth.
Could be a sign.
No, but all joking aside, man, it's been a great series. Let's figure it out, though, in this Game 7. This is a big moment here because it's back to Ed. Keep in mind, 2-2-2-2-1. So Ed gets 7-8. Okay. Ed, big call right here, buddy. No 7, no 11, no 12. Free board. What do we got? 8 ball. He's going.
8.
The crazy 8s. Let's shake it.
Crazy 8s.
Shaking the 8 ball. Let's find out what the luck will be. We'll go into a ref. Oh, my.
A wild for a starting card. How chaotic can that be if you already got a crazy 8s to start and it's already getting a wild?
Ed gonna drop
what are the odds?
Ed gonna drop one of them fortune cookies, man. I'm telling you now. He's gonna test a little fortune. Let's see.
Free game for Ed here to choose where he wants to go here.
Let's see what Ed will do. Is he'll go to the red
one.
All right. We'll go to a red 3 now, into the double play of the Reds. Ditto in the red right now, playing it clear off the wild. One less wild to work with the whole game now. Here comes Ed into the red 7. Plays it a little upper tier. He can go quick. How does Seth respond? Seth taking his time will go, responds with the old 7-2. Not the best in poker, but right now in Uno we're just looking good. Ed looking to fire back. He'll draw, and now Seth with a chance to pounce here, DJ. Big moment.
Big moment here indeed. Seth's been accompanying Ed with the red. Still's going to roll with it, this time with the red 0. What does Ed have? He drew this previous turn. Does he still have to draw again? Yes, he does.
Not the worst move here. Wow,
switch to blue, though. Interesting, though. Let's see what Ed had to draw the last 2 turns. Should likely to have a blue here, or could switch colors if he really wanted to spice it up this time around. Or even use an action card if maybe.
Yeah, that's a crazy switch too. You don't see that 0 sugar off the 8 card. And there's the +2. There it is.
+2 from Ed. Still his turn, obviously. Maybe double play. Yep, double play indeed.
Double play indeed. As now Ed closes the gap and in fact ties it up. Still in the favor of Seth with the possession error. Here he comes. He will go.
Just going to roll with numbers. Seth's basically just rolling with numbers right now, though. I think he's saving his action cards near the very end. Ed had to use one just a little bit just in case, so... Pretty even game, though. Now they're just going to play numbers game right now as Seth switches over to red.
Back to it, though. That's interesting.
Back to it. So just 2 colors so far. Maybe trying to get Ed isolated here. Let's see what he's got. Red 7, though. Okay.
That's
nice little response back.
That's either a clue that Seth may have something to finish, or it's a case of he tried the ISO. Let's see.
Well, we see a color switch. This might be a run here, taking his time. Wild back to... actually, over to green this time. Not back to green, but over to green.
Seth now...
So new color introduced this one.
Yep, he's got the lead by a possession. Let's see what Ed will do. We'll run it clean. Here comes Seth for deuce.
Stays with the 8.
What does he got here? Testing the luck is always the thing with 8 cards. Let's see if Seth gets some magic 8 fortune.
Yeah, does he have something that lives up to the magical 8 ball here?
The magical 8 ball, what will it say? Shake it and find out. Here comes Seth. We're going to do a little shaking and baking. Loads up. Looking for the run. He'll go for the reverse.
All for a reverse.
May have the run. Here comes Seth.
Maybe a run here? That or a double play.
Oh!
Wow! A wild to a yellow.
A
Ed
heater.
has to have something good. Like at least like a wild +4, or at least even a wild in general. To switch the color. Has nothing.
That's it. Seth.
Does Seth have it to ice it? We have to make sure here.
Yep.
That pretty much does it there for that game. Never know though with things like that, right? You think it's just the very end. Sometimes they just have to draw, but Seth gets it. Very quick game. Quickest game of the session so far. Just a little under 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to Seth here. Seth, you needed that win right there, buddy. Momentum shifted, I think. It was a case of trying to find a little bit of rhythm. You did a good job. I think the wild saves were good. But I have to ask, was that wild off the +2? Was one of those off the... Because remember, we lost one with the bot. So you had basically most of the wild percentages, 66%. So talk to me about that a little bit, off that +2. Was that a good key to maybe force it with that blue? That's a rare blue zero sugar switch, too, on an A card.
Actually had both the wilds out on the draw. His +2 gave me a red 4 and a blue 1, so I had to rely on number efficiency to get off those colors because they were the only cards I had in those colors after he hit me with the +2. I'll be honest, I kind of second guessed myself there at the end when I did the green reverse and the yellow wild because I was like, do I want to drain out the yellow first and then try going over to the green to finish out, or do I want to do the vice versa? So I don't know if he had anything in green to stop me. I'm glad I made at least the right choice on the yellow, but yeah, that one was a little bit more stressful trying to figure out with how little cards there were, how to utilize the wilds to get over to the colors that I needed.
I appreciate that. And obviously, the +2 you did, this almost reminds me of that other short game, unfortunately, that game 1 where game 3 where you had something in a yellow +2. It was game 1, yellow +2, but unfortunately just couldn't do much. Did you feel the 8 ball backfired? You just couldn't get anything where you needed to on action cards?
Yeah, not a ton of action cards. I thought I would have good number efficiency, but he countered that. So, well, what are you gonna do? Just gotta win 2 now.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, DJ, now, not much to say after that game. Getting close to that hour mark. It's going to be interesting how Ed tries to maneuver this one because we're getting to the point here where both guys, like I said, mirror playing, a little bit of Draw City, but that was the first time we ventured into that lower stuff, other than the 7 we saw, which was dragged out. Definitely the mental resilience is going to come into play as we potentially have 2 more games here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And for Seth saying it was probably one of the more stressful games, despite it being a little under the shortest game, when it comes to show like how those limited cards like that Magic 8 Ball, only getting those 8 cards, limited in quantity, you have to kind of be a little bit more thoughtful on how you want to really get those cards established, more or less.
We're going to have to establish something here for Mr. Ed because it's getting down to it. Ed, you know the drill here, buddy. Last one at home, no 7, no 11. Let's do it. All right. Full send. Why not? Let's get it done. Can Ed get us into a game 9? Seth, you're going to say that most famous words right there. Go ahead. Go ahead, say it on stream for us.
Never lift!
Never lift, boys. Full send it. Let's get it on. Caesar's going to put us in. Only right way to do it. In Ed's last home game, let's see what we got. Never lift. 15's in. Let's get her on. Ed's going to run the cards, and another skip to start, DJ. How about that? That's crazy.
Absolutely crazy indeed.
Now Ed will have some decisions to make as we never lift here. What will it be on that said 15 card? Taking the time. Into the yellow 0.
Let's see, might be early numbers game. Expected to be numbers game early on. Switch to red.
Aggressive from Seth Cole right there.
Very aggressive early on to do that.
Especially on a 0 sugar. You don't see that ever, really. Like I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 4 of them half gone. Here come.
Oh,
that's a mistake.
might have been a red 8?
Yeah.
We might have a...
That's big.
I think he meant to do an R8. Yeah.
That's big. Seth's going to undercut. Well, cover that off right there and use that in the back pocket for info. How does Ed respond now? A little mistake as we go into yellow. Back to it with the 2 color.
Yep, keeping it with 2 colors so far. Well, we see a tertiary color kick in. There it is. Blue 4.
That trips 4. We go from old Rocky Top to Pier and Nom on the collars. Now Ed looking to fire back. Remember, though, it's the green 8 that he has in the back pocket as we go to a blue 9. Nothing for Seth to really trigger right there.
Well, I don't know if it really has a green 8, though, because G and the R are relatively close in the keyboard. Could have actually fat-fingered it by accident, so... But that is something to maybe keep note of. He might have a green 8 somewhere.
No, the bot says, sorry, you can't play that card here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, you're right. No, my bad.
Yeah,
you see, good eyes there. So you got good eyes for that. Good attention to detail, right? So that's huge. So that does confirm he does have a green. So, yeah, still rolling with the blues, though, right now. See what Ed has. Will he switch color? Will he go for maybe a nice little action play? No, switches over to yellow this time around.
Back to where Seth has flipped over from the blue. Let's see if Seth's hiding anything in the back pocket on yellow. And he ace up his sleeve. He's typing out now. Remember, no power play. You can take your time on this one. There it is. Here comes Ed now. Does he have any more in that yellow? Let's find out. Seth can still run. Into Acosta, we go to Monkey. Now, the number game. Does he have the right number? Does Seth make the break on a switch? There's the switch.
Back
in the green.
to green.
Well, that's risky for Ed now. Does he want to play that green 8? That's going to be the question. I think he would in this case.
I think he could, because he already knows that Seth already knows he's got it, so you might as well get rid of it now. So then you kind of leave everything else in the unknown.
Good move there from Ed. Get rid of it. Yep.
Now the thing is, Seth have another 8 maybe to even combat that. He would switch colors if he wanted to.
Hold on.
But he instead does a green 2, +2.
Yep, the old +2, the Caesar +2, and we'll see what we'll do here. Ooh, leave it open.
Oh, okay.
Interesting from Seth there. He'll take the lead back off that +2, but gives Ed 2 freshies. Ed looking to close this one off. Here comes Ed, looking for the lead back. Does he have it?
Reverse.
Here we go, blue.
2 reverses.
Okay.
Switching over to blue.
Looking for the triple. Here comes Ed. From Goldie to Carson. What does he got on the third card? And there we go. All Caesar, we got the board series. You can go Uno log on that one. We're over an hour for sure as we go back to red. That will make the board easily, no problem here. Long series, 8 games so far. There it is, over an hour. Been a long one here, obviously just joining us as we go back to blue.
Interesting.
Back to red!
Switch to red. Wow.
I love those sequences, man. Numbers like that. It's that trump card for both. Now, can Ed respond to the red? He can, though. Fruit Ninja, back and forth we go, slicing, dicing. Who will have the last lap? Here comes Ed. And here comes Seth in a yellow. Oh, man, the Grim Reaper now as they continue to go back and forth on the switching. Oh, back to blue goes Ed.
My goodness, the color changes are absolutely crazy right now.
That's 7 straight turns of switches for the 7th. How about that? Can we go 8 for 8? That'd be something.
Crazy work.
Does Seth, maybe this is what he needs. Is it one too many? That's the thing with the switches. Is it one too many?
Can bite you really at the worst time, so what does Seth have?
He goes into a green.
A skip and a wild green.
Ooh, that is tricky, man. That is...
This is a crazy amount of color changes. I haven't seen this in a hot minute,
9
KT.
straight turns of switches. This is something. Is it going for a 10th right here? It will be a 10th!
It does! Oh my goodness.
The wild flushing. Nothing from Seth.
You can't make this up, and Seth's got nothing for this.
I mean, this is
no
what you
blue.
want to see. This is what you want to see. Does Seth, as we end the switching, and he's got nothing.
No blue for Seth. He's got no blue.
Unbelievable, man.
Good news for Edward here. For the man.
He's
got to keep at it. He's got 1 card left. Blue 3. Does Seth have anything? Can he even change the color? No.
Ed for the win. But that's the thing with the blue 3s. Does he have an extra blue in the back pocket? No, I was going to say,
Does he
DJ.
at least have a blue or at least another 3? He doesn't.
Nah, he doesn't, because you think double blue, that was your last chance, and in a way
Oh,
that
yeah.
that saved Seth a little bit. That was a clue.
A little bit of breathing space here, so it means Ed doesn't have blue. Didn't have any blue to ice that, essentially.
Here comes Seth. What does he got here?
Oh, could this be a whole no you movement here? Because he's typing a while.
Seven
He is typing a
cards.
while.
Plus
Action cards
4.
here.
Great move.
Triple play here. +4 skip and then a 5.
You gotta do it, because here's why you gotta do it.
Have to.
What if that's a top deck that he needs? And that's the thing. What could have been a blue +2 to finish? It could have been some connector. Great.
Could have been a
move.
wild +4,
Yeah.
and then
Or a wild regular. Good move right there. Yeah, I don't
Seth
mind.
has nothing there. But even so, I mean, that +4 is huge.
Saves
It evens
the
it
game.
back up.
Saves the game. Here comes Ed now. Yep, there you go. Draw City. And that's what you want if you're Seth. Get to the Draw City and see where it lies. We go to Draw City now, and this is what they both have wanted the whole series. Really, here comes Seth with play. Does he have a no?
Just soon getting rid of an action card. Just doing skip. Draws immediately.
Ed now.
I don't know how I feel about that decision, though. But maybe unless you wanted to get rid of some red just like that, though.
He's trying to force Ed into a potential, hey, I'm going to run through the door moment. We'll see. Seth got the lead, though, regardless of that play. Ed's got to think this one through. Is it worth running through the door and switching it up, or do you just draw back and play it cool? That's going to be the key for Ed. Yeah, he's going to play it cool. I think it's a smart move.
I think so, too.
Yeah. Not much really to say here other than we're just running the colors down and
Yeah.
waiting for that.
Both are
big one.
just kind of drawing.
Crazy sequence to that. 10 straight switches, dude. That's
I can't get over that. That's crazy. You can't make that up.
no, you can't. 10 in a row. I mean, Caesar, you got when I just talked to Caesar about the evolution from everybody in the league this year, especially when we get into these later rounds, is fantastic because everyone has stepped up the game this year. The gaps are just so close where there's no margin for error anymore, and both have proven that as we are deep into this game. Almost 8 minutes here. Comes Ed, he'll go for a topper. Another red one. Seth now looking to load in. Oh, he switches. There it is.
Primed
DJ.
up for that switch there.
Yep, back to
Yellow one.
That's-
Here we go.
Now the fireworks begin. What will it be from Ed? Seth makes a topper, but does Ed have a crossover? He does!
Interesting. I like that.
Trips one. How about that?
And Seth has nothing to answer that.
Good move there from Ed.
Great move.
Now looking for the tie. Does he have the tie? Yeah, he will.
He
Does
does.
Seth have an 8, though? Does he have an 8 back to yellow? He's got the 8
He does.
back to yellow!
He's got the yellow.
Oh!
Oh.
The reads continue. Now, does Ed have a crossover back with an end around? No, but he'll run into the yellow. That's big for him. At least he can run.
Rolls with the 5.
That's big. You can still run with them. That's the key if
You
you're
can
Ed.
still run with it. Yep.
But to Seth, does he favor yellow heavily and he can start to put a dagger in? Let's see.
Who has what action cards? That's another thing too. Or is it just a numbers game? I'm highly down numbers game though. Both of them gotta have at least some essence of like wild cards or +2s or some notion
Skips reverse.
of a skip or a reverse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course, we're seeing right now Seth taking his time. We talk about the action cards. We're halfway on the wilds, but we still got 3+4s. Plenty of stuff.
This
to
might
get
be
at.
like some action card masterclass here. Taking his time.
Oh yeah, here we go. Triple play.
Skip +2, yeah, and a 6. Yeah, triple plays you noted. That's big. Giving 2 cards to Ed. What does Ed have though?
Seth makes the break. Does Ed have a switch back?
Can Ed retaliate back?
He will for
Yellow
now.
reverse.
Yep, this is a single.
Thinking through.
No issues from behind. Into the blue.
Well, he does know that Seth doesn't really have any blue, so if we see Seth draw here,
Yeah.
there it is.
Great move.
Good strat.
Question for Ed here: does he want to play a card? That's going to be the key. Does he want to play?
And the real
one?
question is, Ed have blues too, which I'm sure he does if he drew it, unless he's also pulling a classic, but Highly doubt it. Yeah,
And
he draws, so
that's it, right? You play the classic because
just forcing them both into a draw.
Because what if you have a number and all of a sudden the momentum can shift right back to Seth? That's a great play. Just don't want to risk anything. I don't mind that play
Exactly. I think that was a really good play. Now they're both in a draw city here, so once again.
Here comes Zed. Let's see. Seth draws back a couple cards, and now they're both going to go in another draw. A lot of draw cities this series. It's been the tone, the ringtone to say the least. As Vapor hits us up.
Yeah.
Oh, another move. Okay, so another classic skip draw from Seth. It's building some delta. I don't see Ed running through that door unless he wants to. Let's see.
Yeah. Still drawing.
Not going to run through it. Good move there. Let's see what will be here from Ed now. Ed looking to make a move here. And he'll go into the green skip as he gets a little topper. He will run through the door now. Into Lara. Looks for a double. Here he comes. Zero sugar. There it is.
All right. See what Seth's got.
Seth up
what
to
does bro have? Green 9. He's now going to roll with numbers. Just going to stick to it.
Here comes Zed now. He made the switch to green. He'll go into cap and run it clean. Seth now looking to fire back. He had been isolated. He'll go double green 9. That's a clue, DJ, for Seth or for Ed. He might be running low. That's the clue. Let's see.
Yeah, could be. They're just going to keep running with 7s here. Gonna mow the lawn, essentially.
Yep, mow the lawn.
Getting rid of the greens.
Mowing the lawn, rolling in the dough, whatever you want to say. And there it is. The read was right. Low on the greens with a double back 9. How does Ed play this one? Does he switch? Does he go aggressive? Tie game. Here comes Ed. Plus 2. Okay.
Looking to make a double play here. Maybe even looking for a little bit more. Let's see what he's got. Plus 2 right there. Yellow plus 2, shifting over to a whole different color. Oh, what has he got? Let's see.
Triple.
And a Y5. Triple play.
And this stings. That's going to give Seth a chance to respond. In the blue. Okay.
In the blue. Little test here. Ed might have something to answer.
He's got the reverse. Does it a good
Got a reverse, though. Wow.
Does Ed have anything else to get it to check? Oh, it's a great save for Ed. He's going to get the win to go to game 9. For sure. That has to be, unless he just draws here. I highly doubt it.
Highly doubt it. Because that's huge.
Ed looking for the closer to go to game 9. Oh, and a
Oh, it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, wow.
Didn't matter.
Holy smoly. That wild plus 4, he saved them up, really. That ammunition saving really came to play. That draw city you probably want to connect back to. That probably played another factor in that too, KT.
Unbelievable save. But yeah, you're right, though, DJ. It wouldn't have mattered. That plus 4, too powerful. Split Chamic ammo. Great split Chamic ammo. Great style, obviously, Chamic ammo. We know that one. I'm going to start it off with Ed. Ed, great save right there. There was a moment in this series where I thought, oh boy, man, it's looking rough here. I thought after that double plus 2, I'm thinking, oh jeez. That KT Classic though saved you the game, because if you don't do that, Seth might have it finished. Talk to me about making that KT Classic to force the game 9. That changed the whole momentum of this series for sure.
Yeah, I knew he had trouble with the blue, so I was like, well, blue is not exactly a card I have a lot of right now. I have this reverse, but I don't want to use it right now, so I just wanted to go into a draw city, collect some cards, and go from there.
I mean, Ed, how did you read this series, man? At least that individual game. That was an insane read on 10 straight color switches where we were just going haymaker for haymaker. When you get into those moments as a player, what's the mindset? We just seeing the board switch back and forth between switches and end arounds and plus 2 opens. What was the mindset when you see all those switches and how your brain continues to keep flowing through mental gymnastics, as DJ said earlier?
Yeah, it's all about staying calm. You don't want to play a card that maybe you shouldn't play right away. It's just you got to stay calm and collected and just time it out right.
Appreciate that. And Seth, the pace has been really fast and furious here. You threw some top deckers into a skip, into a draw two. Everything you were doing was good. This is exactly what you needed in terms of getting to the setup, but unfortunately, you just got beat a little bit to the punch. What were some things you were missing maybe on the draw cities to get you to win? Other than that, it really wouldn't have mattered unless you had a +4. He had a +4 back to finish. And talk me through it. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, the tough part was with the action cards is I only had one reverse, so there was no way to be able to chain to another color. I had one skip, so I wasn't able to run a chain. Anything that I ended up getting for action cards in that regard, I got off a top deck, and I had already utilized the other action card, so that chain was gone. I had a couple of wilds to be able to utilize, but I think he got a little bit luckier on the top deck draw than I did there. But, the big problem, obviously, was that I was out of blue, and he did a great job of keep bringing it back to that color to ice me out. I tried working with some number efficiency. I think 9 was my number in this one, because I think I had like 5 9s at the end of this game, so tried utilizing the 9s to try to be able to swap the colors over there and everything. I mean, basically with knowing I was out of blue, it was just trying to do a lot of aggressive light switches, and I hope that he wasn't able to draw it back to the color that obviously I was iced out on. But I'll tell you what, it's coming down. Game 9. I fully expected this. I'm looking forward to it. Win, lose. Well, there's no draw, but win or lose, I'm looking forward to seeing how this one works out.
Like you said, yeah, it's been a banger, DJ. I mean, we've been at this now for at least 2 hours on stream, 72 minutes in terms of action time. We're talking at least about an hour of playing, maybe about an hour of covering post games and pre games. It's been a good one. What are you looking forward to in this game now? How do you live up to the pressure? Because it will be Seth's final call. Thoughts on this one, man? As we've hit over 204 combined cards drawn back, and a lot of plays. We're looking close to 300 cards played on the table.
It is an absolute open door for this final game. No power plays again. No power plays. Just good old Uno. Just consistently back and forth. You think, like I said, you think there's an advantage someone has, and then it's just quickly snatched right back. Game 1, Seth. Game 2, Ed. Pattern. Game 1 through 3. Seth, Ed, Seth. And then Ed wins the next 2 games. Then Seth wins the next 2 games. And then Ed wins game 8. So, it's just back and forth, punch to punch. They just respond right back, literally mirroring one another. I don't know what else to say, because this has just been amazing Uno on both ends. Will come down to ammunition control as always, but I think they've both done a really good job with it. So it's just a matter of what hand they got, who will come out best, because this has been an amazing set overall.
Yeah, both guys are putting the show. The bot's been serving up a lot of interesting metas here, but other than that, it's been pretty clean and fair and precise. Who's going to have the biggest precise move at the end to finish it off? Seth, it's only fitting that we ended with you, buddy. Last game here, no matter what. Winner takes all. Game 9. Something's got to give. What are we doing here? Last call, my friend. No 14-8.
Series has been too good to not have a good finish. I'm glad Ed won that last game, because let's do a double full send.
Double full sender. Say the word, Seth. Never lift.
Never, ever lift.
Never lift. Let's get it in. Caesar, load us up with the refs, man. No need to run it off the C15. Let's run it back with the refs. Here we go. 15 cards. Let's get her in. Another skip to start. Seth this time, who controls the pace. DJ, this is going to get good, man. Usually these game 7s, man, as we go for a little donut, it's time to bring the pastries and bring the sweets, because we're going to see some real action right here in this game 9.
Yeah, when it comes down to a final game like this, it's something you could write out of a movie, more or less, Just something you'd think. Absolute cinema, as somebody would say. Or a lot of memes would say, more or less. But this has been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing.
All right, 14 apiece. Vapor coming on deck around 4:45. I'll probably get dinner started pretty soon. That way I can get you guys clean and ready to go for the 5 o'clock showdown with the OGs. We'll go into a blue.
All right, color switch off the bat. Guess who? Seth initiates it.
Once again, this has been the story of the day. Switching. It hasn't been the top deck, so it's been the switching and really a lot of enabling of that switching and making some crazy plays. Who's going to switch the most and who's going to also switch precisely will win this last game. And there's the trips. There we go. That's 3 switches in a row. How about that? Here comes Seth. Does he go for a 4 for 4 on the 4s for the rainbow?
It's a nice little reoccurring theme to have in these matches. So much color switching. And Seth's going to roll with the yellow 5. I expect Ed probably do the exact same thing. Probably roll with yellow. Yep, we'll do a 9 with that.
Almost an hour, 15 minutes series, and we have not seen any separation. Both have been tit for tat as we go to another switch. How about that? Back to blue. Man, it continues, DJ. The show continues to roll with the switching. It is not letting up. Never lifting for real.
Indeed so. And they're just going to keep running with it.
Numbers game, crescendo moment. Here comes Seth again. Blue in the center switch.
A shift back to yellow.
I mean, if you're Ed right here, do you just don't switch? Do you play it
No
cool?
greens yet. Nobody's put greens in yet,
Yeah.
so... Not much red, but everybody's been shifting been aligning more with blue and yellow, and I think that's all they're going to focus on is getting rid of those yellow cards off the bat.
Yeah, they've been going at this for heavy hitters right here, switching back and forth, but you got to think at some point something's got to calm down. That green could be the lock and key. Let's see. Here comes that. Takes
Yellow
the lead
skip.
with the skip. Yep. Double play. So he's got the lead.
Yeah,
now.
I think both are trying to get rid of their yellows. That's what it looks like from what I'm seeing. I think Seth might go for a color change here. Either that or he got some action cards. Nope, just rolls with the yellow. Just stays with the 3.
Just testing out Ed to make sure he doesn't have anything more. Let's see. Let's see what will be from Ed. He'll go, well, ditto that. Here we go.
So nice, you got to put 3 twice.
Yeah, that's right. Make it thrice. We'll find out. Will it be
And there's the green.
Got it right.
There it is.
There it is. Now it's full blast, full send on the colors. Everything's open. Here we go.
3 3s so far in a row.
Yep. Into the 7 heaven. Here comes Seth. He made the initial switch to green, though. What does he have in the back pocket? Looking to reclaim the lead. So many switches, so many lead changes, so many cards drawn and played. He gets the play, and there it is.
Triple play. And now into red.
Back into the reds we go. We saw the red 4. Seth had bailed on that earlier, though. That's interesting.
Maybe playing a little bit of mind games here. Maybe wanted to think they didn't have much red, so that's why they swatted over for a bit with that little tussle up with the yellows and the blues.
Will it be from Ed here? Does he
See, Ed might have an action card
plus
here.
4, that's it.
There it is.
Neutralize it for sure. Great move from Ed. He'll take the lead if he has any more. Let's see. Does he play cool?
Well, you just go for a double play. Maybe go for a little bit more if you need it.
Just
a nice little double play.
Yep, Seth's still in the lead, but he puts it back to a closer game than we wanted. Into green again.
And now into green again. I think we got a good idea. I think Ed's got a good indicator on where Seth wants to go, color-wise.
Yeah, he does. He wants that green. He wants that Seth wild card in a sense. Here comes Ed.
And if you're Ed, do you have a 6 to combat that? Well, you want to go back to blue.
Into the G6 of Vapor. Here
Or even a different color.
Does Ed have does he have an answer? He will not. I'll just play it clean this time.
Still a lot of cards on both ends of their both hands, so anything goes. That's going to keep running with 4s here, so.
Ditto, yep. Ditto play. Here comes Ed. Does he switch it? He goes for the move.
With the reverse.
Does he have a second one to play? I'll just play a
Double play.
Yep. And just like that, though, Ed, within maybe 2 possessions, depending on this play. Yep, 2 possession lead for Seth. Ed within the boundaries now. Can he keep it going on this green, or does he go for aggressive? That's the thing now, DJ, the switching. This is the more aggressive.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, he's going for it. Is it the right switch? Now you have to time it perfectly.
Well, time will tell.
It works.
Oh, that was the right one. That was the call.
Good play from Ed.
Good stuff.
What's it going to be from Ed right here? Plays it
And
cool.
Ed has some reds too. If he switched it over, he's probably got at least a red or, again, good forcing to draw city. And Seth's kind of in that territory right now where he's having to draw consistently. Only for these last couple turns, that is. And Ed can just run with some reds continuously.
Yeah, he's running it clean. Here comes Seth.
And a switch to blue.
Back to blue. We had saw the icer there from Ed. Let's see.
Ed knows that Seth has no reds, essentially, or very limited on the reds, if anything, if he gets top deck, but going with the 5 here.
What does Seth have on the blues?
It's looking pretty good for Ed at the moment. Can't say it, though. I don't know. You can't assume because, anything happens. But Seth now runs with a blue 0.
Zero sugar there, trying to play safe. Here comes Ed, looking for deuce.
Could be some action cards here. Not a lot left. He's got a blue +2 here.
Card. Is this a right call? Looking for check.
Does he have another one? If he has another one and he does the Uno properly, call out and everything, not having to worry about call out, that might do it.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
Seth's gonna.
That's it.
He couldn't do much there. He calls it, and that's it. Ed's gonna get the job done. He'll make his second Elite Eight, dating back to the T3 from last year. He gets it done. What a crazy series that was. Holy moly. How many? Let me see that. 15, 6, 21, 31 combined reverse skips and +2s for Ed versus Seth that had 42 of those cards. That is insane. That is insane. That definitely efficient. It was more efficient compared to the what the cards have to say. Ed, what a series, man. That was laying it all on the line right there, my friend, and just going for it. I gotta say, man, that double +2, what did you get in return right there? Because that was the starter, the fire starter, to get the job done, in my opinion.
Yeah, let me see. I'm just calling back through the game. My heart rate got up to 143 according to my Apple Watch.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Live metrics there.
I don't even remember playing a +2. I started off the game with the 2 +4s. I was like, okay, I just gotta play this smart. And I used one earlier. I would have preferred to save it for the end, but I had that last one there, and it worked out.
Let me go. No, so you didn't get anything special off those 2 +2s, Seth? Or just nothing out of the numbers, I'm guessing.
Let me scroll up and look.
I'll help you, man. You good? Hold on.
Okay.
Let me help you out. I'll put it there. You're in that right for sure.
That's it. Oh yeah. So yeah, he got that, and then I don't remember. Is there a way to see what I got?
Oh man,
I just don't remember.
you know what? It might be a blur. That's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. I guess the only thing you made,
I don't think it was anything crazy.
Maybe a reverse. That's all I can think of.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just a reverse. Okay. I mean, how did you stay with it, man? Down 4-3, trying to get everything working, everything flowing. What was the turning point in those last 2 games? Because really, you really had the momentum, I would say, early, and then all of a sudden, Seth fired back with those quick wins of 7-3, and then you needed those longer wins in the game 8-9. Talk to me moving on, playing either Jay Caesar or Monkey coming up as you make your second E8. Crazy series, though.
It's going to be another good matchup whenever that happens between either of those two. They're both really good, so yeah, just got to try to stay calm, even though in the last game there I wasn't the most calm, but that's all right.
Appreciate you, Ed. Seth, I don't even think you can say that was a bad read, man. Think about it. You threw the 2 +2s, but if he had 2 +4s in the back end, you almost delayed the inevitable and almost worked it down to where you had a finish. Just ultimately, he iced you out in that flush with the Reds, and you just had a deficiency. Thoughts on that crazy series, though? Was back and forth the whole way. Great game.
I'm exhausted. I think that's the first time I've advanced far enough to be in a best of 9 series, and that is grueling. I don't know if my heart rate got up there or not, but it probably did. Just the back and forth, but yeah, had to do the 15 card send to end this thing off. It had to be done, and right off the draw, I figured he probably had the advantage. I didn't know he had both 2 +4s, but I figured he had to have had something good. Yeah. I was really depleted when it came to ammunition. It was just going to come down to numbers games. So at that point, you're realizing you're playing on the back foot. You're just hoping that maybe you can force them into a draw city or something and try and get some ammo to counter. But, I mean, congrats to Ed. Well played. Unbelievable series. Privileged to be a part of it. It's one of those series you don't really mind what side you come out of it on the winning side or the losing side. So that was really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does going forward. But, man, that was a wild one. Can't say much more. It just came down to the little bit of the luck base there with the bot, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It was, like I said, it came down to the back end, I would say, ammo, DJ. It was just the back end ammo, and ultimately the back end ammo, it worked out into his favor where you couldn't do what he needed to do. Your thoughts on an insane series? That was incredible, man. That was an insane series.
Fantastic series overall. I mean, I don't really know what else to say because I think both did a good job. They both played the best they could. It's just, like Seth said, sometimes it comes down to just some good hands you had. Because the first game, Seth had a monster hand to kick things off. I think a lot of the shorter games kind of came to that, if anything. But, I mean, both used power plays defensively, which is super interesting. Which is really crazy. The color changes, I think, in Game 8, right? I think Game 8 or Game 7. Either way. It was Game 8, I think, more, if anything. Because they swapped so many times. I hadn't seen that in, like, so long, though. Like, you can switch colors, like, here and there. But, like, just to do it so often like that in, like, consecutive turns. Crazy work. But fun game. Fun games all around, though. A lot of back and forth punching, more or less, and doesn't matter who came out best. It's gonna suck no matter who was gonna lose out of that because both had a real good case in making it.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I'm going to go to you, man. I was just kind of telling you, both guys were playing elite today. You think about it, they had a lot of the action cards, used the control. What is that? 100? Let me just make sure. I don't want to. Yeah, 112 switches combined on the light switching. I mean, Seth drew 112, 110 cards drawn back. Self draw was about third of what they had, if you think about it, in a sense, from both guys. Maybe a little bit more, a little less, excuse me, than a third. What did you see potentially? Obviously, you still got to play Monkey. What did you see in this series that you could take away from a rep perspective, also, and just from a player perspective? What a banger it was. While we wait for that, let's go into the schedule today, and the schedule is going to read this. What a series this was. Seth, he tried, but Ed, the 13 seed, moves on to the E8. He'll either get, like I said, Caesar or Monkey. We'll talk about that in a second. Vapor Peter coming up in the Mustang region. Going to try to follow that act up. That's going to be fun. And then Yepes Lair away after dark. That will be with short. One more for the boss here coming up shortly on a stream. Now we go into the old pod. And, well, as I said, we were going to expect some fireworks in this region. No Ashley. And we also lost the 2C Toast, and that's allowed to open doors. Will it be a 7-13 or a 3-13? Find out for the round finale as of now, Thursday night. Monkey, Caesar, Caesar, Monkey. That's going to be a good one. Cannot wait for that. But from all of us here, for DJ Curtis on commentary, for our players Seth and Ed, for our fans Puzzle, Dan, Vapor, and of course my main man Jay Caesar for ref, and Cody Smart as well. Thank you guys for coming out. It has been a fantastic showing. And once again, I want to congratulate Ed one last time. After a crazy series, he gets the job done as he continues to rock and roll in Automotive April into the Endurance 8. We'll see you very short, about an hour 15, when we start coverage of Peter, Vapor, Peter. Classic OG match. Can Vapor get some more revenge? Or does Peter have the last laugh compared to where we were in 2023 where Vapor won 4-2? We'll find out. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody. One more to go.
Fantastic. That was fun. I might be a magnet for good games now. Jokes aside, but that was good. That was a really good game. Good game to watch.
2 for 2, man. On the game's going distance.
Man, oh man.